Hello random gamers, Ekko here, and today we are doing an episode of The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 1, All That Remains, Different Decisions, which pretty much entails that we look at the decisions you could have made during the episode, and then we look at the alternate decision, and just see if much of the storyline changed by the decisions that you made. So, let's get on to the 5 decisions we could have made during the game. We've got Save Krista, the dog, did you give water to the dying man, accepted Nick's apology, and did you save Nick or Pete? Okay, let's check out the first one, Save Krista. So, this decision takes place pretty early during the game. You find yourself playing as Clementine, and Krista goes off to find firewood while you try to get the fire started so you can cook your meal, which looks like a rabbit. Ultimately, you hear noises in the woods, you go to investigate, and you see Krista surrounded by about 3 guys. And you can choose to either help her out by distracting the people that are have her surrounded, or you can choose to just walk away, sneak away, unnoticed, hopefully. Okay, so the first one that I chose to do, first decision, was to help Krista out. Let's see how that panned out.
Where's the rest of your group?
I'm by myself.
Bullshit! She's lying. Cut the shit, lady.
It's just me.
What the
Krista,
fuck?
run!
Hey!
So, there you go. If you choose to help Krista out by throwing the rock as Clementine, ultimately the people see you and chase after you, okay, trying to hunt you down. But you will notice, you heard Krista sort of screaming and yelling in the background, but next clip you notice there's one subtle difference in what happens to Krista in particular. Let's see if you can pick that up in this little clip. This is what happens when you don't save Krista. You sort of decide to walk away.
I'm by myself.
Bullshit! She's lying. Cut the shit, lady.
It's just me.
Who the fuck do you think you're fooling? Lying bitch!
Clementine, run!
Hey!
So, there you go. As you can see, if Clementine chooses not to help Krista out by throwing the rock, Krista is stabbed in the back of the leg, tells Clementine to run, and then you go into a chase, which happens either way, no matter what decision you make. So, ultimately, if you picked it up or not, Krista sort of gets a little bit more injured than what she did with the first decision. Maybe that'll come back later in the game, and spoiler alert, possibly, if you watch the closing sequence of what's happening on the next episode, I'm sort of guessing that Krista's going to come back into the episodes. Rightio, but anyway, let's get on to our next decision. Okay, decision number 2 is the dog. Now, Clementine in the game meets a dog. You also find an abandoned camp while you're scavenging for food. You find a can of beans. Clementine opens these beans and can choose whether to feed the dog, not feed the dog. There's a couple of choices there, but regardless of the choice that you make, the same thing happens. The dog actually attacks you for the food. Now, during the struggle, you boot the dog or give it a good kick over a log, and it gets impaled in what looks like some sort of tent pegs or camping equipment. Now, the choice you have to make here is whether to kill the dog or just walk away. Let's have a look at the choice that I made first, which was to kill the dog.
I'm sorry.
So there you go, quite emotional for Clementine, quite an emotional decision also for the player, choosing to go down and put the dog out of its misery. And you can see with the long shots and the sort of silence that's employed by the developers there, it's sort of meant to have a lasting impact, which it did for me. So let's have a look if you decide just to walk away, see what happens.
I'm sorry.
So there you go, another quite emotional scene. If you leave the dog, you can see it sort of suffering. Get a close up of the dog's face, close up of Clementine, and how it's impacting upon her, and then you just get the final shot of the dog struggling and suffering on the ground as you leave. So ultimately, not a huge game-changing decision in the way of future events, but rather more of an emotional impact depending on what you choose, which is pretty good, and that's what these games are about. Okay, so on to decision number 3, which was to accept Nick's apology or not. Let's check it out. Okay, on to our next decision. And we meet a character named Nick later on with a group of people, and they are arguing whether to keep Clementine or get rid of her, etc., because they think the dog bite on her arm's a walker bite and that she'll turn soon. Now, Nick is sort of a little bit shaky, and when Clementine decides to run or move, he accidentally shoots at her and almost kills her. So later on, when everything's fine, he comes to apologise to Clementine. You can choose to accept the apology or deny it. So let's see the two decisions, how they pan out. The first one that I made was to accept Nick's apology, and here's how it rolls.
Hey, look. I just want to say I'm sorry for being a dick out there. I got kind of aggro, and that was definitely not cool.
Nick's been known to go off every once in a while. Don't hold it against him.
Yeah, I guess we all have our moments.
You definitely had one out there.
You were just protecting your friends. I get it.
Well, I didn't mean to be so harsh. I just... we had a bad experience once.
So there you go. If you accept Nick's apology, he'll remember that. So obviously it'll come back later in future episodes, and he hangs around. You have a conversation. Now let's have a look if you sort of shut Nick down and reject his apology.
Hey, look. I just want to say I'm sorry for being a dick out there. I got kind of aggro, and that was definitely not cool.
Nick's been known to go off every once in a while. Don't hold it against him.
Yeah, I guess we all have our moments.
You definitely had one out there.
You were way out of line. You shouldn't have pointed that gun at me. I was hurt and needed help. And that's how you treat me?
I was just...
I know what you were trying to do, but that doesn't make it right. I could have died because of you.
Whatever.
Yeah, as you can see there, that's a pretty cool dialogue choice. Clementine absolutely shuts Nick down, and then you have that silence at the end, and whatever, he just walks away. So, once again, I'm pretty sure that will come back into it somewhere along the line if you need Nick's help or whatever. Who knows, with these Telltale games, they can go pretty much anywhere. Okay, on to decision number 4, which is to give the dying man water. Leading up to this event, yourself as Clementine, Nick and Pete go to the river to check fish traps and come across what looks like to be the scene of a sort of shootout. Okay, you investigate the bodies, and as Clementine you come across a guy which you later recognise as one of the guys that assaulted Krista earlier in the woods. Now he asks for water, and you can decide to give him water or deny him water, okay, because you find your backpack with a water bottle in it. So let's see what happens with the first choice when you give the man water. So there you go, give the dying man water, and he turns on his back and says thank you. But then the whole scene sort of changes rather quickly as Pete is attacked by a walker, and then that leads up to a next decision. But anyway, before we do that, we'll have a look at what happens if we decide to deny the man water. Another quick reaction, the dying man turns on his back, splutters a bit, and then the next scene takes place. So ultimately, I don't know if this is just a moral choice to make for your character, or whether it'll impact you further on down the line. Maybe that character that was dying on the riverbank may come back into it. Who knows? But anyway, on to decision number 5. Okay, decision number 5 is to save Nick or Pete, or help out Nick or Pete. Now, straight after the Dying Man, the decision with the Dying Man giving him water, Pete comes under attack by Walker, and then Nick's on the other bank also coming under attack, and Pete's yelling at you to go and help Nick, and Nick's yelling at you to go help Pete and to come over because he's got ammo. So you have to make a decision. Okay, and the first decision that I made was to go and help Pete. So let's see what happens.
We gotta get out of here! Get over here, goddammit! Can't you listen to me once? Just one time? I've got ammo! Come on! Come on! Jesus! Ah!
To go.
So there you go, helping out Pete allows you to actually save Pete with the piece of wood and the zombie, but then Nick comes under attack, but he also runs off, he doesn't get bitten, but by the looks of it, Pete might be bitten, which will come into it next episode if he is bitten. But anyway, ultimately that choice allows both characters to survive for that for a time being anyway. So let's look at the other decision. If you go and help out Nick, let's see what happens.
Saved him. How could you just leave him?
So there you go. Helping out Nick results in Pete's grisly death by several zombies, and Nick pretty much blaming you for Pete's death. So not a very good choice to make, I suppose, if in regards to future episodes. So there you go, random gamers. I hope you enjoyed my mini breakdown of the different decisions you can make in episode 1 of season 2 of The Walking Dead. Now, feel free to check out my other Walking Dead playthroughs and the proper playthrough of this episode with my original choices, and throw a like or comment down the bottom. Sort of helps me out, gives me motivation to make another different decisions when it comes up, because while I enjoy doing it, it does take a lot of time. But anyway, I'll catch you later.